As far as the trade for the day is concerned in ITC, you can go long on declines around 298, 297 with a stop loss of 292 for upside targets of 305 to 310 also.
Okay. So, what about the Infosys and HL Technologies? They remained as the pair IT stocks as on yesterday, because we have seen Infosys, getting into a correction mode, and then yesterday it has also come into a positive zone and gained approximately about 2.2% yesterday.
Well, if you look at the overall chart structure of Infosys, it was consolidating after a fall. The fall came from higher levels of somewhere around 755 to a recent low of around 705 levels. So there was a clear 40-45 point down move, or you can say somewhere around 5.5 to 6% of a down move that we've seen in the stock, and the stock has consolidated around those levels, say around 705 to 715 on the upside. So that is where it was consolidating, and yesterday we have seen that the stock has broken out and it has closed at its highest level in more than 7 or 8 trading sessions. This clearly indicates that the strong hands were accumulating the stock at lower levels, and a strong up move may be seen if the stock continues to move above 725 in today's session. This is mainly on the back of the strength that the dollar has been witnessing from lower levels yesterday. The USD INR, last week we had mentioned that the pair is likely to witness some support around 68.30. That is what it did, and you will see some bit of buying coming through in HCL Tech and Infosys.
All right. So, coming to the top 5 losers into the Nifty 50 as on yesterday, that's Eicher Motors, JSW Steel, Hero MotoCorp, L&T and Maruti. So, if we look into the sector aspect, there were 3 automotive stocks yesterday. One is a two-wheeler giant, and the other 2 are, of course, the one is a rural focused Eicher Motor, and the third one is, of course, Maruti itself. So what is happening? Because even yesterday they remained as a top losers in the Nifty, even day before yesterday as well. So what can be thought about? Go short or go long in these good prices?
If we talk about the auto sector as a whole, auto sector stocks are known as rate sensitive stocks, and these stocks have been witnessing a sell off from higher levels in the recent past. Now this could mean that that a rate cut may not come through, at least in the next RBI policy meet. It is an expectation. It is not that we have some kind of a news or a rumor. It is only an expectation looking at the chart pattern of the auto stocks. Now as far as auto stocks are concerned, if you look at Maruti has it has made a double top kind of a pattern within a distribution phase, and it is clearly indicating that if the immediate support around 2750, if that zone is broken rather, we may see a further sell off towards 6400 in the days to come. So go short in Maruti, is what I would recommend. The stop loss for this trade will be a high of yesterday's trade, that is 6902, and you can wait for downside targets of say 6700 to 6500 at least for the day.
All right. So viewers, there are about couple of announcements about the board meetings and dividends. So let's start with the companies which are announcing the dividends, corporate actions as on today. That's HUDCO, this Housing Urban Development Corporation, Sun TV and Ujjivan Financials will be declaring their dividends. Company meetings of board meetings would be Adani Transmission, Manappuram Finance, Mindtree, REC and Vodafone Idea. So these are the companies which are going to have their board meetings today, and I think almost L&T is through with the Mindtree 20% acquisition about of Mr. Siddhartha. And what does this mean for L&T investors, and will this bring a cheer to Mindtree investors also, or will it be the opposite?
Well, such kind of hostile takeover bids are usually not taken as a positive in itself, at least in the short term. But however, we've spoken about this in our previous shows, there will be of course a lot of value added to the shareholders of L&T, because eventually since there is no such indication from the management of L&T that they would like to merge both the entities, at least in the near term. But such kind of hostile takeover bids usually end up in mergers over a longer period of time. So at least for the short term, L&T is a clear avoid. Even a Mindtree, a stock like Mindtree is not recommended, at least for the time being, since there is a lot of fundamental misappropriation as far as the understanding to the retail investor is concerned. So just wait. I would recommend you to wait for a bit. Just let the stocks cool down from from the higher levels, and then we can take a fresh entry into the stock. L&T can be avoided for the time being. You look at entering the stock around 1275. As far as Mindtree is concerned, I will just let you know the levels.
Okay, sure. So in the meanwhile, there are some important updates as well when it comes to this stock specific news. GHCL to introduce 2 new products in US markets. REC plans to sell up to about 225 billion rupees of 10-year bonds. Cadillac gets US FDA approval for their ointment cream, and Vocard founders have extended the redemption of preferential base shares by 1 more year. Now, HCL Technology signed shared services arrangement with Xerox Corporation, and we are also having an update from Indian Oil. Indian Oil to pay an interim dividend of about ₹1.50 per share, and this is again an update because one of the technical reasons also were there, because for the past almost more than 2 weeks, IOC, if you look into Hind Petro and BPCL, they all were trading with strong gains, and this is one of the reasons for the IOC, all the investors can cheer up because they are going to get all the dividends which the company is going to announce. So what can we come to the other stocks which you were just looking at?
Well, Mindtree is also a clear avoid right now. I mean, if you look at the chart of Mindtree, it was consolidating and slightly moving higher, but it is now, in yesterday's session, it has witnessed a sell-off from higher levels. So just wait for the stock to cool down a bit, let it come down at least 4-5% lower, and that is where you can enter the stock for medium to long term perspective.
Okay, great. So what would be your suggestion or recommendation for intraday today, because as the markets are going to remain closed tomorrow, so would you recommend any stocks to remain long, any specific stocks?
Yes, I have a few stocks. I have around 6 longs and 3 shorts from my end. Escorts is a buy from my end, but you can definitely go long if it is declining towards 808 for upside targets of 844. Stop loss will be 784 on the downside. LIC Housing Finance is another stock which is looking good on charts, so buy it again on declines around 518 to 520. So stop loss will be around 505. Upside targets can be 540. Voltas is a buy from our end. 609 is where you go long on declines. 590 is the stop on the downside. Upside targets can be 635 to 640. Reliance is another stock which has done good in yesterday's session, so we will want to buy the stock again on declines around 1370. Stop loss will be 1330 on the downside. Upside targets can be 1430. And Infosys and Infratel are the other 2 longs from my side. You can go long with the 2% stop loss or upside targets of 3.5 to 4%. Now coming to stocks on the short side, M&M Finance is a clear-cut short from our end. It is making, forming a weak pattern on daily charts. So go short if it sustains below 415, and stop loss will be 427. Downside targets can be 395 to 390. JSW Steel is one of the top losers in yesterday's session. 285 is where you go short. If that low is broken, then it is likely to witness a lot of selling pressure towards 272. Eicher Motors, again, we had discussed this during the beginning of the show. It is looking weak. So 21,600 or sustaining below those levels is where you go short. Upside stop loss is 22,250. Downside targets can be 20,650.
All right. So coming to the provisional figures of the FIIs and DIIs, of course, the FIIs were again remained the net buyers as on yesterday, about 2,132 crores, and DIIs were again net sellers as on yesterday, that's 1,254 crores. So the current open interest, what we look into, the interest is gaining momentum slowly day by day. The FIIs are buying, the Indian rupees getting stronger and stronger. Yesterday, the Indian USD INR has snapped the 6-day rally and slightly closed in the negative territory. So what can we expect in the USD INR especially?
Well, as far as USD INR is concerned, I will go with my view that I had given last week. It has witnessed, some kind of profit-taking move from higher levels, and it has taken support around 68.30 on the downside, and it has just given a bounce back from those levels. Now, it has been falling for 6 to 7 trading sessions if you look at the pair, and then it has taken support. So, a small dead cat bounce of, around to somewhere around 68. 70 so 68.80 cannot be ruled out as far as the USD INR is concerned, and you can go long in this pair as well.
All right. So let's look at these three stocks, Chirag. That's Havells, Asian Paints, and Siemens, because especially these were the stocks which were hovering around at a almost about 3-month high period prices. So will there be any fresh breakout? Can these stocks be suggested?
Sorry, I didn't get the name of this.
Havells,
okay.
Asian Paints, and Siemens. And in the meanwhile, these stocks, especially if we talk about Havells, it has been having strong, might have created about 700 levels kind of supports. So will that be a good gainer in the coming months or weeks?
Well, if you look at Havells, Havells is a preferred bet from our end as far as the strong mid-cap consumer durable space is concerned. We are very bullish on this stock, and it is looking good on charts. The markets have just opened, and it is just try to move higher, Havells, as far as today's trade is concerned. So you can go long in Havells. Around on declines around 760. Stop loss will be 740. Upside targets can be 800. As Anilji just mentioned that it's having a lot of strong support around 700, 680 odd levels. It is clearly evident on charts that a lot of value buying has happened around those levels. Now, till such time those levels are broken on the downside, we do not see any further downside. So any such declines towards those levels is a buying opportunity for sure.
So Asian Paints and Siemens?
Well, Asian Paints also is a good buy from from current levels. It is just within striking distance from its lifetime high. It is in line with Nifty because it's an index stock. However, having said that, if it doesn't cross over the the recent high of 1480, 1485, then some kind of profit taking may come through. However, till such time the stock is sustaining above the level of say 1430 or 1420 on the downside, there will be buying on declines which will happen, and the upside range is somewhere around 1480, 1485.
Okay, viewers, markets have opened right now with about 5 points gains. 11,538 is where the Nifty spot is trading at. Infosys, Hindalco, Infratel, India Bulls Housing Finance, NTPC, these are all the top gainers right now, starting about 0.6% to 2%, where the top gainer is Hindalco, and the top second gainer is Infosys, trading at about more than 1% at 730, and Hindalco is trading at 206 with about approximately about 2% gains. And if we look into the top 5 losers as on now, that's Zeal is losing about 1.5% right now, trading at 458. Bajaj Auto is on the losing ground, about 1.2%, trading at 2940. Tata Steel is also losing about 1%, trading at 523. IOC is also about in minus right now, about 0.6%, that's about 161.65 paise. Hind Petro, Kotak Bank, Eicher Motors, again they all are in the negative zones if we look into the Nifty top 50 gainers and losers. So this is what the markets have given the opening indication. So we believe markets may remain choppy, and at the same time some profit booking which have been evident in the past 2 days in most of the companies, but there are again some few stocks in the index based ones which are taking the index higher. So are we looking this index achieving its all-time highs? Probably not today, maybe on Friday or at least next week.
Well, you never know the kind of momentum that the Nifty has been showing over the past 7 to 9 trading sessions. I mean, we all have been caught by surprise, by the move by which the manner in which the FIIs have been buying. A few days back, we were not expecting even 11,250, but we have just screamed past those levels. And don't be surprised if you see a good round of value buying coming through, while everyone else is expecting a profit taking move on the downside, because this is what has happened over the last 7 to 9 trading sessions. If you look at I reiterate the fact that a lot of value buying has happened by the FIIs in the recent past. Now they have also bought puts in yesterday's session. It clearly indicates that they may be expecting a downside. They are only trying to hedge their risk by buying puts of lower levels. As far as Nifty for the day is concerned, we are still bullish on Nifty. You can buy around 11,500. Stop loss will be 11,450 on the downside. Upside targets are 11,600, but it is still very low from the lifetime highs.
All right. So coming to the stock specific, built up, where in the longs and shorts, we have Bank of Baroda, which is giving a strong amount of long built up, and the open interest is also getting higher. And the other two stocks are, in fact, the much even higher open interest is into also Torrent Power and Ramco Cements. So can these stocks be looked into, because they are really gaining momentum when it comes to the long built up open interest, especially the Bank of Baroda, the PSU banks? Are they going to do any kind of new risings?
Well, I was just looking at the chart of Bank of Baroda, and it is right at the resistance of around 124, 125. Now this is the level where it has fallen from in the as far as the last swing high is concerned for the stock. And even before that, in the month of September last year, it had gapped down and it had sustained over around those levels. So till such time we do not see Bank of Baroda sustaining and closing above 125, 126 levels, I don't think it's a good buying opportunity. I mean, you can get stuck up in long positions if you enter the trade right now. Either wait for a decline towards 120 on the downside, or buy it only if it sustains above 126. So it is a 3 rupee move on either direction from current levels. So just wait for a trade in this one and then go long.
Okay. Among the stocks, there are some high delivery percentage stocks in which we have closely watched Godrej Consumer Products. So Godrej is getting about high amount of delivery percentage. So can this be looked into, especially Godrej as a pack? Godrej Properties and Godrej Industries. Now Godrej Consumer is giving some high amount of delivery percentage. Can this stock be opted?
Well, yes, Godrej Consumer Products. It should definitely be on everyone's radar right now. The simple reason being that the stock is witnessing good amount of buying from lower levels is what we have seen. Though it has been consolidating for the last 4 to 5 trading sessions, on a weekly basis it has given a an indication that it is likely to bottom out from current levels. So 675 to 650 is where it had consolidated. Currently it is trading at around 709. So go along with the stop loss of 650 on the downside. Upside targets can be 750 to 775 over the next 7 to 9 trading sessions in this stock.
Alright, so nifty mid-cap stocks, if we look into, the top gainers are National Aluminium, Reliance Power, Jubilant Food, THFL, Exide Industries is really looking excited, the M&M Finance. So these are the top 5 to 6 gainers which are looking very strong in the mid cap, and the fresh buying is slowly getting into strong momentum, because they are up by about 1 to 1.5% in the mid cap index. So can any one of them can be preferred, like Jubilant Food or Exide? Any of these stocks, they are looking very strong in the moment right now. The continuous buying is can be witnessed.
Well, yes, our preferred bet from all these stocks that you mentioned is Jubilant Foodworks. Now, Jubilant Foodworks has been, making higher top, higher bottom formations, though there was a sell-off from higher levels in yesterday's session. But if you look at the open and the high for the stock, open and the low for the stock today, it is exactly the same, clearly indicating that good amount of buying has happened around those levels, and that level is unlikely to be broken, at least in the next hour or so. So as far as trading is concerned for the day in Jubilant Foodwork, just watch out for that level on the downside, that is 1406.90. If that level is broken, then avoid going long in this counter. You can definitely go short with yesterday's high as the stop loss. However, if the low is not broken, I would recommend you to go long strongly, because this is going to move towards 1450, 1470 in the next 4 to 5 trading sessions is what it seems like, because it is just moving out of a strong consolidation after a long time. It is likely headed towards 1500 also over the next few sessions.
Okay, so viewers, there is important news updates coming up from DLF, Centrum Capital, Fortis, Muthoot Capital Services. So these are the stocks going to announce some important board announcements as on today. So please watch out these company names, and even DMart, Avenue Supermarkets is also in news today. So we need to look out for the updates for that. So act accordingly. Any people who have already invested, they can hold on to stocks, and then later on, if you have any concerns and need more clarifications, you can definitely either call us, or you can also mail us at anilsingh@cvrinfo.com. So if we look into the DMart aspect, DMart has really been nowhere most of these days, not being into the kind of percentage movers or losers. So what can you just give your kind of an opinion or a recommendation to go long or short in DMart?
Well, if you look at the chart structure of DMart, it is trying to consolidate after it had gapped down a few days or a few weeks back, and the zone of consolidation is between 1360 or 1350 on the downside to upside levels of 1500. So that's a good 10% range in which the stock is consolidating. Now such kind of ranges are usually not seen in most of the stocks. Usually stocks consolidate in a range of around 3 to 4%. But given the the kind of moves that DMart is known for, the stock is consolidating in a range of around 10%, and currently it is somewhere around the higher end only. I mean, it is around 1475 right now. So I would recommend you to go long in this counter, because it has not been able to break lower levels of say 1335 on the 1435 on the downside, and that should be your stop loss on the downside. If that level is gone, then of course it is headed towards 1300. But if that level is not broken on the downside, and if the stock closes this week say somewhere around 1500, so you are definitely likely to see good momentum coming through in DMart over the next 1 to 1.5 week.
Okay, there are some important stock names which are making some kind of potential mid-cap buyings is one among the list. Among them, we have Maharaja Batteries, Cummins India, GSPL and Glenmark Pharma. These are the 4 stocks. Like Maharaja Batteries, first to start with Maharaja Batteries, what do you feel Maharaja Batteries is currently having a status of bullish or a bearish?
Well, it is neither bullish nor bearish, it is sideways. This clearly indicates that strong hands may be buying into the stock, because as the elections come up, I mean, this stock is having a lot of political background to do with. So traders or investors will be eyeing whatever happens as far as the Andhra Pradesh Assembly is concerned. So the stock will be consolidating at least for some time now, until and unless the upside level of 780 is crossed on a sustainable basis. It is currently around 740. So right now, if you ask me, it is in a no trade zone. However, if someone wishes to go long in this stock, can go long around current levels. Stop loss will be a tight one below 720. Upside targets can be 760, 765.
All right, viewers, so that's the update as on today. The market's looking slightly bit, slow kind of a movement is catching up. But yes, being a holiday tomorrow, so we have one of the most colorful and favorite festival of our culture, that's Holi. So we all wish from CVR English, wish all of our viewers a happy Holi. Have a healthy and happy Holi, and have wonderful sweets, especially these are the things with children, and along with that the grown-ups will also love to look at. So have a safe and happy Holi tomorrow. We will come back to you again on Friday morning, same time, 9 a.m.